Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Director Rowe, for being here with us today. As is evident by today's hearing and will also be evident in the forthcoming report, this committee has successfully been able to develop a detailed overview of the facts and circumstances surrounding the days of these two assassination attempts, and will be able to provide some specific suggestions and transparency about those events going forward. The Secret Service has been cooperative with this committee, and we appreciate your efforts to ensure that we had information that was necessary to make this process meaningful. And we've received a lot of information from you that help inform what is needed with respect to resources, technology, and training. But I would like to discuss with you another aspect of protective work that I believe is also critical to the success of our mission here today. You testified earlier that part of successful protective work also includes being aware of and considering the actual threat environment. So would it be correct to say that when you all are engaged in protective work, one of the things that you do is go to the actual site, assess the physical location, and make an assessment of the specific geography and needs associated with securing any specific event site?
Yes.
Is it also correct to say that part of preparing for these types of events is to analyze the actual threat information that you have, whether it is a specific active threat going on, a greater threat landscape, that you also consider the types of threats and the threat environment that is active at the time of an event you're trying to secure?
Yes.
So would you agree that you're fighting a big diversity of threats? You mentioned earlier things such as a lone wolf actor, a nation-state actor, that there are an incredible diversity of threat actors that you are trying to fight against.
Yes.
And so for us as Congress, with our mission here, which is to understand what has happened and what you need, how we can equip the United States Secret Service to effectively perform their mission, would you also agree that it would be useful or constructive for us to have access to that type of information as we go forward and attempt to finalize our assessment of the going forward future needs of the United States Secret Service?
Yes.
And here, I would like to say this. I noted earlier that the Secret Service has been responsive with us and has provided us with a great deal of information and insight about your operations, what you did in preparation for these 2 days, and what went wrong. But it is important to note information that this committee does not have from the Department of Justice, including components of the Department of Justice, the FBI, and ATF, and what we do not have from those agencies, to include digital analysis of electronic devices belonging to crooks, the same for electronic devices belonging to Routh, interview summaries for the family members of crooks who were interviewed by the FBI after this event, any sort of overall financial analysis of these two individuals and who they were and what they were doing. So while we have an extensive and thorough analysis of the logistics, the specific things that happened on that day, who was standing where, who wasn't on a radio, how we could improve the implementation of the security measures that were in place that day, in a very real sense, we do not have some of the critical intelligence information that might have helped us even better understand the needs of your agency going forward. Our mission on this task force is to understand what went wrong on the day of the attempted assassination, ensure accountability, and prevent such a failure from ever happening again. And I would assert that preventing such a failure from ever happening again necessitates that this Congress has access to all of the relevant information related to these days, related to the actual threat landscape that affects not only President Trump, but other protectees that are under your care. So, I beseech and suggest to the Department of Justice going forward that this is information that can and should and must be provided to Congress if we are to understand how to equip and support our federal law enforcement agencies. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.